Hi everyone, it's Claudia. I haven't made a video in so long. So I thought I'd do one today. It's been a really rainy and crappy day, and actually I kind of already filmed this video, but I went to go edit it and the whole thing was blurry. It was not in focus. So hopefully this time you guys can see my face and I can actually put this online. But yeah, so the whole video I'm making is about college advice because I just started college. I'm a freshman and I've learned a lot in only like a month. So I thought I'd kind of make this into a series and kind of keep you guys updated on what I learn in college. I know that there's a few viewers who watch that are juniors or seniors in high school, so hopefully this is informative for you and can also keep you updated on what's going on in my college life. So interesting, oh my gosh. So without further ado, let's get into this video. First on my list that I made, I have make a planner. Have a planner with you at all times at each of your classes. This is a huge thing, at least for me. I find it a great way to organize just all the events and homework assignments that I have. I suggest at the beginning of the semester, the second you get your syllabi, go through the whole thing, write out all the deadlines. You know, all the midterms, all the homework assignments. They may be shifted around a bit, but it's good to at least have it there at the beginning, and that way you can just reference it and not have to pull out that syllabi every single time you have a deadline coming up. Because I know I recently, for a class, I recently had an assignment due that I didn't know was due until the day of because I was just so overwhelmed this past week because I had midterms. So yeah, I highly recommend having a planner, getting all that stuff on there. There's also just so many club meetings and such. It's really important to just like have a place to put them all. If not a physical planner, then at least like Google Calendar and the calendar on your iPod or iPhone or whatever. The second tip I have for you guys is to participate in class and ask your professor questions. I'm in a lot of lectures and a lot of them are about 200 plus people, so that's quite a few people, and you know, you could go by a whole semester and not have anyone notice you, not have the professor notice you, but I really think it's important to do so because you can build a relationship with that professor and have them help you out later on when it comes to job opportunities or internships. They can write you a letter of recommendation or suggest or give you the opportunities for jobs and internships. So I highly recommend participating, going to their office hours, making yourself known so that they get to know you, and that way they can help you later on. Also, the more you participate, the more they see you're putting an effort into the class, and therefore the more likely they are to give you a better grade if they see that you're truly putting in the effort. Trust me, from experience, I know this is true. So with assignments and office hours and professor relationships, I highly suggest you give yourself time to do all your assignments. Like at least, personally I would say at least a week, because you never know what's going to show up during that week before the assignment is due. And I recently had the experience where I originally went to a professor and asked them for help on an assignment, and that really helped my grade. Like I got an A, and I heard from a lot of peers and from the professor herself that a lot of other students didn't do as well, like meaning they did bad. And so like that was really cool that I got that leg up by like talking to her, and she basically gave me like step-by-step instructions on how to approach the assignment, and it was super helpful. But then this past week, I had another assignment due for her class. I actually had 2 assignments due, and they were a little more difficult than the first assignments, and I didn't give myself time to do them, so I pretty much crammed them in the night before, and I really regret doing that because it probably hurt my grade. Like I don't know what I got on it yet, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a good one. So I mean, I had midterms this week again, like I said, so that kind of affected how much time I gave for those assignments, but still that's not an excuse. I highly recommend working ahead and talking to your professors because you never know when you're gonna need help. So, you know, having those extra days and then being able to schedule an appointment for their office hours, you know, helps when you have more time. A fourth piece of advice comes with studying. Something that my mom has always told me is to review your notes every day for a class, especially like if it's a really hard class and you're not doing so well. She recommended reading your notes every day, and to me that always seemed like such a hassle. I was never really down with that, but she kept stressing it, and I'm taking this bio class this semester, and the professor says the same thing. He was like, you could get an easy A in this class if you just review every day, which is, they say it's easy to do, but really in my personal opinion, I don't think it's easy to do. It's really hard for me at least to set aside that time to review my notes, especially because I'm kind of a slow reader. But still, it's a really good thing to do instead of cramming the last minute for an exam. It's really good to just space it out and review every day. So to help with reviewing every day, I've found Quizlet to be really good. I know a lot of people have heard of Quizlet, but I've never used it for some reason until this semester for this bio class in particular, because there are so many notes, so much vocabulary that it's just a lot. Like there's no way you could cram, you know, the night before and pass the exam. Like there's just no way. So a good way to review every day is to type in the notes of that day into Quizlet and then review the notes prior at that time as well. Like I've kind of been doing that, and that's been helping a lot. Like I highly suggest doing that, because then typing them into Quizlet, you have a space where you can bring them anywhere, because you can also download the Quizlet app and have those notes available to you wherever you go on campus. Like I've found that it's super helpful, especially on exam days. In between classes, I'll take out my phone and review the flashcards that I've made and maybe play a few games on there, and that really helps me like stay refreshed, I guess, on the material for the exam. So talking about my bio class, this is the first lab I've ever taken, like a class that has a lab portion to it, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I ended up failing the first 2 weeks or so with the quizzes that they were giving out at each lab, because I didn't quite understand that you had to read the notes at least 3 times a week, and you have to read ahead, like read what you're going to be studying and what lab you're going to be doing for the next week too, because that is also on the quizzes that they give us at least, and also it just helps you be more prepared in class, because I know that in the lab the TAs, they tend to go very fast because they assume that you already read the instructions on how to do the lab. So they'll go really, really fast through all the instructions, and if you hadn't read them before, some of the stuff that they're talking about. As I mentioned before, I had exams this week. I had a math exam, a bio exam, and an anthropology quiz, and a bio lab quiz, and 2 philosophy assignments, which, I mean, in hindsight, I mean, like that, I guess that doesn't sound like a lot maybe to some people, but there's just so much material that goes along with each and every assignment that's like a lot. So I was really overwhelmed, and I made the poor decision of going home the weekend before exams. That is my next tip. Do not go home the weekend before exams. I made that fatal mistake, and at least for me personally, it wasn't a good decision because I can't really focus at home. I've always had a hard time studying there in that environment because my family's just like really nice and friendly, so we tend to just goof around a lot, or just be really chill. So I ended up just spending the whole weekend hanging out with friends and family, and didn't really study at all. So that led to a lot of cramming, a lot of stress, and I don't recommend that to anyone. If you can focus at home, then you do you. Like, that's awesome. Then feel free to go home whenever you like, but at least for me that didn't really work out. So I highly encourage you to like schedule when you want to go home to not be when you have exams. Lastly, if you're a business student, because I am, so I have a little bit of insight, I guess, about this. I highly suggest that you start working on your resume and make a LinkedIn account like right away, because those two things, like at least for me and my experience here at this university and the stuff that I'm involved in, that has already been asked about like multiple times, and I did not have that prepared coming in. So definitely I encourage you to get on that as soon as possible. Also, on the whole like professional note, definitely bring business clothes. I know some people didn't quite do that when they came, so they had to go home and bring some professional attire from home, or they had to go out and buy some. I highly suggest that you bring professional, business professional clothes, both business casual and business formal, because you will need both. In my experience, I've already been to a networking event, I've been to club meetings that I've had to dress business casual, I've been to networking events, I went to a case competition. I participated in a case competition where I had to dress up. So I've already put good use to all the business attire that I purchased. So yeah, that about wraps it up for my college advice. So far it's been a pretty cool experience. I've had a lot of fun, I've made a few friends, and I'm enjoying my classes. So that's about it from me. If I made a second part to this that's more about the residential life, living in a dorm, living on campus, and I actually made that video with my roommate, so that should be coming up the week after I post this video, so stay tuned for that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!